Welcome then to the highlights of Deal Victoria and Barnes Close Cricket Club versus Shepherdswell Cricket Club, played on the 17th of May 2020. Deal Victoria won the toss and they chose to bat. The opening bowlers of Shepherdswell were Dimitri Lugthar and Chris Dyer, who promptly decided to bowl the meanest bowling we've seen for a long time. They bowled very, very tidily. This is a first four of the match from Frank Packman and from Deal Victoria Barnes. Dimitri bowled his 8 overs for only 14 runs, and Chris Dyer bowled his 8 for only 20 odd. And they put some pressure on, which it finally played here when Norval Scott is out, played on from the bowling of Chris Dyer. You see the replay here. I think he just chops it down onto his middle stump, and that's the end of that. So Deal Vics lose their first wicket for look at that, Bales. Also, no, I see the Bales fly for their first wicket for only 18 runs, and Norval Scott goes for 6. The tight bowling of Shepherdswell really did put the pressure on, but then David Howland came to the crease and probably scored some lovely shots here. This 4 was gorgeous 4. And then Chris Dyer bowling again to Frank Packman, who scores one right over the bowler's head, and this doesn't carry, but it does go for 4 runs. Pushing the score on, but still here only 2 runs and over for Deal Vic, so the pressure's still being applied by Shepherdswell. Dimitri bowling to David Howland, who plays a nice shot here over points head for another 4 runs for Deal Vics. Slowly moving the total up now at around about 2.25 and over. This bowling now, Dan James comes on, first change bowler. Dan James and Duncan Woodruff came on to replace Chris Dyer and Dimitri Lugthar, and that's a lovely shot again from David Howland, who puts a 4 over the circle. Lovely shot. So Duncan's bowling came on, bowled to Packman, who scored another 4 straight over the bowler's head. Pushed Deal Vics on to 54 for 1 at this stage. The run rate now on about 2.7 and over. So it's slightly coming back, but the pressure's still being applied. So Dan James now bowling to David Howland. This time he plays it into the deep, and Duncan Woodruff is there to take the catch. It's a fairly comfortable catch there, he's not had to move much, and that brought the end of the wicket for David Holman, who scored his runs very quickly, helped push the total on for Deal Vics, but the fielder's not had to move at all for that one, and Duncan was just taking an easy catch off the bowling of Dan James. 29 runs then off his 26 balls, and Deal Vics find themselves on 58 for 2. Peter Moore then comes in, again off the bowling of Dan James, is out LBW. We don't see the replay, so we're assuming it is plump. 2 runs then for only 4 balls, and Deal Vics now on 61 for 3. Josh Erskine comes to the wicket, and he sets about readjusting the scoreline a little bit here. Hit a lovely 4 there off Dan. Carries to the band. Backward point. And pushes Deal Vics on to 65 for 3. Duncan bowling this time to Packman, Frank scored 20 runs there off 63 balls, but he gets an edge. It's a really good take from the slip fielder Dimitri Lugthar there. Unlike the big man to make that much ground, but he takes it beautifully. And that sees the departure of Frank Packman there, 20 runs off his 64 balls, very hard for him to get off the mark with the initial set of bowling. In came Blake Pearce, who didn't hang around unfortunately, scored 1 run before Dan James picks up yet another wicket. This time the finest of edges, and it's an easy take from Max Robinson, which now leaves Deal Victoria struggling here. They fall to 68 for 5, off only about 25 overs at the time. So there's a nice shot here from Josh Erskine, who's still intent on pushing the score rate up. It's 2.9 by the time he's putting shots through here. Now this is Dan James, Josh Erskine, who's on the 18. Deal Vics on 87 for 5, and that's a shot he's got away with. It's not gone where he was playing it, but he takes the edge, and there's no slip fielder there, so it's comfortable for more runs. And then shortly afterwards he plays the same shot, and again it's the same result, another 4 runs for Deal Vics, and we want 105 for 5. Will Wilkinson was the next change bowler from this end, and he's bowling to Morgan Pearce there, who's played it off his legs, and it's not going to carry, it's a 1 bounce 4, possibly 2 bounce 4s. Paul Vinton was the other change bowler to Josh Erskine, who's finally edged one. It's a good take from the keeper, diving to his right, and Josh Erskine's finally out for 34 runs off the bowling of Paul Vinton. It's a really good take from the keeper there. But it's a valuable knock there from Josh Erskine, 34 runs off 43 balls. Left Deal Vics on 109 for 6, with the run rate on 3.2. Morgan Pearce comes in and hits a lovely 4. Hits quite a few runs, Morgan. He steps up to the mark, excuse the 4 runs. It's a nice 4, pick of his shots really. But he doesn't go very much further. Will Wilkinson bowling again to him now, and he's a finalist of edges, straight through to the keeper. And Max picks up another wicket off the bowling of Will Wilkinson. And Morgan Pearce there falls for 17 runs, and that leaves Dilvix on a precarious 113 for 7 with 5 overs to go. So in came Rubens Ratnasingham and Robin Thomas, and they promptly set about rearranging the score. It's a lovely 4 there over their heads. Paul Vinton to Robin Thomas. That's a nice 4, easily played. There's no fielder there. 4 more runs. Run rate now over 3.3 and over, so they're trying to tick it up with only a few overs left to go. Paul Vinton again, this time to Robin Thomas again, and Robin again. There's another shortish ball played away nicely, and that's another 4 runs. So total's ticking up, and as is the run rate at this stage of the game. Only 3 wickets in hand. This is Wilkinson to Rubens Ratnasingham, yet to get off the mark, but he does with a gorgeous shot straight over the bowler's head for 1 bounce, and it's a 4. Lovely shot, that one. Again, Rubens facing Will Wilkinson, and again it's another nice 4 runs for Dilvix, who move on to 135 for 7 with less than 4 overs to play, and the run rate's still creeping up now to about 3.6 and over. So 37th over, Rubens Ratnasingham again, and it's another good shot here for another 4 runs over the circle. Fielding still very tight here from Shepherdswell, still very close in, looking for the wickets. Robin Thomas facing the bowling of Paul Vinton, less than 3 overs to go. It's a lovely 4 again, just plays it away. Nice shot, it's a safe shot, but fields in close. Robin's on 20 runs at this stage, and this is Paul bowling. It's another lovely 4 over the fielder's head at point. An easy shot, because the field is so closely set in with Shepherdswell. Thomas on 26, Will Wilkinson bowling, and it's straight over the bowler's head and the fielder's heads for another 4 runs. And finally now Dilvix are over 4 and over, which is what they would have wanted from the start at least. So 167 with just 9 balls left, and Robin Thomas just plays another lovely shot over the bowler's head for 4 more runs, which brings up the 50 partnership between these 2 batsmen, which was a crucial partnership at this stage of the game for them. So Rubens facing again. It's a lovely ball. That's nicely put away by Rubens. Finished into the over, 39th over on 171 for 7. So then 5 balls to go. Paul Vinton bowling, and Robin Thomas finally falls. Edges another one to Max Robinson, who picks up his 4th catch of the game at keeper, and Paul Vinton gets a reward for his persistent bowling there. And that brought up the 8th wicket for Dilvix, 173 for 8. We've brought Brett Law in to face. His first ball is a cracking shot, again over the bowler's head, who's in over the fielder, who's still in quite close there for his 4 runs. For his second shot, he plays this particular trick. He walks straight across his stumps, and the ball goes behind him and takes out his middle stump. So that's Paul Vinton's 3rd wicket. And Brett will want to see that one again, I shouldn't imagine. Not at all. So that finished the innings then for Dilvix on 179 for 9. A quick brief look at the batting card there from Dil Victorian Barnes. And here's the bowling card for Shepherdswell. So I'll be opening with Paul Vinton and Tom Roberts. At the first ball, Paul gets a wicket. Paul gets a quick run. And the second ball of the over, first over of Shepherdswell's innings, Edwin Joshi bowling. Tom Roberts plays it straight to the man at point, who throws it straight back. It's a direct hit, and Paul Vinton is run out. We don't know who called for the run, but it's a direct hit, and he's gone. But this ball's gone straight to point from Thomas, who's picked it up. Good left-handed throw from Brett Law, and it's directly out. So Shepherdswell lose their first wicket, only the second ball of the match. Not the start they would have wanted. Brought to the wickets Will Wilkinson and Tom Roberts. Tom scores a lovely 6 here, all of 126 yards that particular 6. Let's have a look at this one again. Just plays the shot, doesn't bother moving, just lovely 6. Will Wilkinson then moves on to 8 runs, but unfortunately short ball here from the bowler, and Will just follows it, and it just takes the edge. But it's a very shortish ball there from Ruben Ratnasingham. But it's an easy take for the keeper, Peter Moore, and Will's gone for 8. Ross Askews to the wicket, scores a lovely 4 for his first set of runs. Just a little swivel, thank you very much. That'll do. Unfortunately Tom, who scored 11 runs, then holds out straight to square leg. So it's a good catch here by Josh Erskine. Ball's travelling quite fast, and the bowler Ruben Ratnasingham picks up his second wicket. Tom here just pulls it straight to square leg. Doesn't get any air on it at all, really. That leaves Shepherdswell on 30 for 3, and in a bit of trouble at this stage. And to the wicket comes Phil Palmer now. So Russell Skew's on 7, pulls a shot there, and the fielder's made some great ground here to catch this. It's David Howland just caught it off the bowling of Brett Law, but he's made up quite a bit of ground to get this catch. And Russell goes for only 7 runs. He'll be disappointed with that. Caught David Howland, bowled by Brett Law. Shepherdswell now 31 for 4. Proper collapse. Isaac McIntyre comes to the wicket. Scores a 4 to get off the mark. It's fairly agricultural looking, but it's very effective. It's a bit late on the shot, but he puts it away. His next 4 is much nicer than bowling of Brett Law. And this is a lovely shot from Isaac. He just plays it straight through the gap. And that's 4 more runs off Brett Law. Took the total on to 50 runs for Shepherdswell for 4 wickets. Gorgeous shot, that one. But Isaac doesn't hang around either, unfortunately. Bowling of Robin Thomas. And Isaac just holds out here, but it's a brilliant catch from the fielder, who's running away from the wicket, trying to get under the ball, and it's a final leap that just brings the ball in and he snags the catch. But it really is a very good catch here from Frank Packman. Sees the wicket of Isaac McIntyre for only 14 runs. Shepherdswell then 56 for 5 at this stage, and in a lot of bother. So that brought to the field David James and Phil Palmer. Still sort of partnership they could play to try and rebuild from Shepherdswell here. And that's a nice 4 from Phil. Not a shot he would normally be associated with, but he collects the runs. Dan now facing the bowling of Brett Law, and that's probably shot of the day there. He made that look so easy, he's not had to move at all. Really good shot. Phil Palmer again facing Robin Thomas this time. Plays off his legs, and that is the 50 partnership, which was much needed from Shepherdswell. From these two batsmen at 56 for 5, now 106 for 5. So Dan James, unfortunately, doesn't hang around for much longer. You won't want to see this shot again. He's into it. Well, he's into his shot too early, and he's on the wrong line. But apart from that, it's perfect, and it just removes the off stump there by the bowling of Robin Thomas. And Dan goes for 21 off 43 balls. But it was a crucial partnership between himself and Phil. Put Shepherdswell on 118 for 6. And that single from Phil brings up his own 50, his first 50 of the season, off only 60 balls. Are you pleased with that? He played a skipper's knock, that was. He comes in down the order at deal because he likes to eat his tea there. Next ball he faces, unfortunately, is a disaster, really. He's facing the bowling of Edwin Joshi, and he's completely got this wrong. Let's have a look at this again. The massive gate that takes out his middle stump. You could have driven the bus through that one, Phil. But he goes for 50 runs off 61 balls. It was a cracking partnership and a good knock for him. So Max Robinson and Duncan Woodruff then see the game through to the end here, just picking up ones and twos. That's a lovely 4 there from Duncan. Max Robinson now facing, and that's another nice 4, which tied the scores. Just the 1 run off the last 7 bit overs. So Neville Scott comes in for his last ball of the over, and Max puts it off for a 6. 116 yards. It's a lovely shot. So yet again the tail secured the win. Shepherdswell win by 3 wickets. It was the tail that secured it, really, although it was a partnership by Dan and Phil that really kept it up. Let's have a look at Deal Victoria and Barne's close card now. So Packman's 20 runs off 64 balls, but he was facing mostly Dimitri and Chris Dyer. Another good score from David Howland, 29 off 26. A good score from John Erskine, 34 from 43. Morgan started with his 17 but couldn't quite push on. A lovely knock from Robin Thomas for his 39 runs off only 19 balls. And Ruben Natsingham's 19 runs off 9 balls. Those two put on a good 50-run partnership to push the score up to at least a respectable 179 for 9. We have a look at the Shepherdswell bowling card now, and as we said earlier, Dimitri's bowling there, only 8 overs, 2 maidens, 14 runs, no wickets for rewarding, but it was such good pressure he puts on. Chris Dyer's 8 overs went for 21 runs and he got 1 wicket. Duncan Woodruff and Dan James then came on. Duncan bowled 8 overs for 30 runs, picked up a wicket. Dan's bowling of 8 overs and took 3 for 38. The final change was for Will Wilkinson and Paul Vinton. Will bowled 4 overs for 39 runs, picked up his 1 wicket, and Paul Vinton's 4 overs went for 35 runs, but he picked up his 3 wickets. So some good bowling there from Shepherdswell, but it was the first 2 bowlers really that set the game, I think, and put the pressure on Dilvix to try and score. And some very nice bowling from Dan James and Paul Vinton. Here's the Shepherdswell batting card then. So Paul Vinton won't be pleased to see that. Again, top order not doing too well, 1, 11, 8 and 7, but Phil Palmer's 50 and Dan James's 26 put on that 50-run partnership that really rescued the game for Shepherdswell. A nice knock from Isaac, 14 runs off 13 balls, and a great score from Max Robinson, his top score for himself in cricket, I suspect, definitely for Shepherdswell, 42 runs, and another not out from Duncan Woodruff, who finishes his third match with a score and with a not out. So he's going to have a great year this year by the looks of things. So we'll move on in a minute to the bowling of Deal Victoria and Barnes Close. So Edward Joshi, 8 overs for 44, 1 wicket. Ruben Ratnazingham, 6 overs, 236, some tidy bowling there. Brett Law, 5 overs for 30, took 1 wicket. Blake Pearce, 3 overs, 15 runs. Robin Thomas, 7 overs, 2 for 29. Neville Scott, 3 overs for 20. And Morgan Pearce, 1 over for 8 runs. So again, this was the tidy bowling from the opening couple of players that put the pressure on Shepherdswell. But here's the final card then. Dan James gets player of the match, man of the match, whatever you want to call it. And Shepherdswell win by 3 wickets. The batting from Dulvics and Barnes Close here, from Robin Thomas 39, John Erskine 34, David Howland 29, and Frank Patman from 20. Bowlers from Shepherdswell, Paul Vincent 3 for 55, Dan James 3 for 38, Chris 1 for 31, Duncan 1 for 30, and of course Dimitri, who didn't get a wicket but bowled his 8 overs for only 14 runs. Shepherdswell's batting was led by Phil Palmer, 50 runs off 61 balls, Max Robinson's 42 not out, Dan James's 26, which was crucial in building the fight back for Shepherdswell, and Duncan Woodruff's 19 not out. Bowlers for Deal Vicks in this particular one, Robin Thomas took 2 for 29, Ruben Van Attingham 2 for 36, Brett Law 1 for 30, and Edwin Joshi 1 for 44. And that sees the win for Shepherdswell by 3 wickets over Deal Victoria and Barnes Close. Thank you for joining me for a really good game of cricket there. I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.